I've long been a huge fan of Tinder. I'm sure that many of you watching have probably seen a lot of my other YouTube videos on Tinder. I myself have gotten incredible results, and I run an entire course on Tinder, and a lot of my clients have really killed it on Tinder as well. But there's a horrible new trend going on that is upsetting me a lot and is losing a lot of my love for Tinder as a whole. And that trend is Tinder has suddenly become super touchy about banning guys. And it doesn't just ban guys for obvious reasons, it bans guys for the most ridiculous reasons imaginable. And if this keeps going on, Tinder is going to lose all of its market share. So today I'm going to talk to you about, first of all, how the Tinder banning process works and how it decides who it needs to ban. I'm also going to talk about how to avoid getting banned yourself. And then lastly, I'm going to talk about what to do if you find yourself having been banned. Is there anything that you can do to fix the situation? Keep watching to find out more. So how does the Tinder banning process work? Well, imagine I set up a brand new profile, put up a whole bunch of photos, I write my bio in my profile. There doesn't seem to be anything rude or leery or sexual in there. But after a couple of days, I can't log in anymore and it gives me an error code. It doesn't even say I've been banned, it just gives me some random error code. So what's happened? Well, imagine in this hypothetical scenario, one of my photos was a picture of myself in Thailand patting a tiger, right? I want to show that I'm worldly, I've traveled the world, I want to stick up an animal photo. What gives? Well, as it turns out, a lot of these tiger petting places, or maybe all of them, actually drug the tigers to prevent them attacking the guests. And there's a big animal rights movement against this. So if a couple of women actually tap on my profile photo and say, this photo I find offensive, the reason, they just say other, then I get banned because a number of women have complained about my profile for crazy reasons. Now, it's absolutely ridiculous. So what happens is that there's nothing then that I can do. So if you've been banned for something like this, you can't. If you email Tinder, you're going to get a robot response, literally just an automated response. And if you reply to that, you're going to get another automated response. If you reply to that, you'll get another. If you reply to that, you won't get replied to anymore. There's almost nothing that you could do to make Tinder change its mind, its ruling on a banning, no matter how unfair. Now, I do understand that the whole idea about being able to report profiles, it comes from a good place because you can't have people on Tinder being offensive, being racist, being sexist, being like hyper aggressive sexually in messages in Tinder and stuff. I get that. And you need to protect men and women from the crazies out there. And Lord knows there are plenty of crazies out there. But I've seen some really, really ridiculous real life examples of guys' profiles getting banned, my clients' profiles getting banned for the stupidest things. And I'll give you some examples of why some of my clients have been banned. So they include reasons such as a photo of a guy on a fishing boat with a fish that he just caught. So women found that offensive because it was a dead animal. A profile that says, if you're religious, please don't swipe right, I don't need your preaching. So that evidently offended a lot of religious women. A profile with a guy wearing a sleeveless shirt and one of his tattoos was a buxom woman wearing a tiny bikini. Another example is a guy saying to women in chat that he, quote, wasn't looking for anything serious. And lastly, another example, we had a transgender woman who got banned simply for being openly transgender. And the list of insanity just goes on and on. So what can you do to avoid getting banned yourself? Now, in the olden days, and by olden days, I mean like about 6 months to a year ago or more, I would have just said common sense, don't be offensive, don't be overly aggressive sexually, don't post up like lurid photos or offensive slogans, you'll be cool. That's not the case anymore, unfortunately. So I'm going to give you a good list of guidelines to follow to avoid getting banned yourself. Number 1, ensure everything in your profile is culturally neutral. So be careful of anything that could be considered racist or color or gender or culture exclusionary. Don't reset your profile more than once a month, because I've noticed that all of a sudden Tinder is starting to crack down on guys who reset their profile, too frequently. Number 3, don't have any hunting photos or photos where you're carrying axes, knives, or guns. Number 4, don't specify the look of a woman you want. In other words, don't say, I want a woman who's slim or fit, or I like white girls, or I like Asian girls, or I like blonde girls. If you're going to say what you want in a woman, now you've got to focus entirely on their personality traits, and you've got to just focus on what you want. In other words, you've got to say, I want a woman who's intelligent and funny. You can't say, I don't want a woman who isn't neurotic and crazy, because then you're going to offend the neurotic crazy people. Number 5, and this is actually a really good hint in general for Tinder, get women's phone numbers really quickly. Because once you've got their phone number, you can just delete them from Tinder straight away, so that if things don't go to plan after you got their number, they can't jump back and downrate your photograph vindictively. Now, if you're starting to get the feeling that you're going to have to start tap dancing around Tinder's insanity, then you're absolutely right. And if you think it's bullcrap, then you're absolutely right. And if you think I'm being driven insane by this insanity, then you're absolutely right. Because there isn't a lot you can do. Now, if you're a paid member of Tinder, in other words, you've paid for Tinder Plus or Tinder Gold, you do actually have some recourse. Because if Tinder bans you and doesn't give you a refund, and you've paid, then that's in direct violation of the Google Play Store, and it's also a direct violation of the Apple App Store. So the key here is, if Tinder's banned you and they can't give you a specific reason why you've done something that violates the policy, then all you need to do is complain, and they're in violation. And if enough guys complain directly to the App Store, then Tinder's going to have to fix its crap, because they certainly don't want to have app death because the App Stores have banned them. So then they're going to have to do something about it. That's about your only recourse right this second. So even though I'm a huge advocate of Tinder, or at least I have been in the past, the truth is Tinder has some really great competitors that I think that you should consider. Things like Happen and Bumble and Wildfire and Hinge are really great alternatives that are starting to get a large piece of Tinder's market share. And you know what? Jump across, because all the same strategies apply, all the same rules of getting really great responses and turning those responses into dates apply on them just as they do on Tinder. So you can use all the knowledge you've gained from my videos, from my online training program, to great effect on these competitors. And at the same time, by ditching Tinder, you get to flip them off and say, this is what I think about your crap. So let me know, what do you think about Tinder's hyperactive banning spree that it's been on? You sick of it as well? Let me know. As I mentioned, I have an online Tinder training course, which is only going to be free for a very short while longer before I start charging for it, because it's become so ridiculously popular. So jump in while you still can. I'm going to put a link for that down in the comments below. Otherwise, thanks for watching this video. I look forward to seeing you in my future events. If you enjoyed this, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so don't miss out on any of my future content. Thank you.